Alright, hello to anybody who is grading my video or watching it, and I hope you enjoy it, but let's get started. Okay, so our unit question was how much power should one person have, or how much power should an institution have? So there are many questions in this question, but one of my questions is how do people come to power, and how is that power sustained, or how do they keep their power? And mostly people come to power through either their relatives, or I think the military is actually a really common one. For example, Idi Amin came through, and he wasn't that smart. He had a lack of education, and he didn't have a father figure, so he just grew up in the farms with his mom. So he just came through power through the military, and he did great. I mean, he became the president of Uganda, and and then other people came through relatives, such as Kim Jong Il. His dad was a very cruel dictator, Kim Il Sung, and after that, they just decided to put Kim Jong Il in, and he just got to rule just because of his dad was just so powerful and so great in Korean history. Yes, Korean history. I'm sorry, and yeah, other people really don't come to power like just if like it's not like America where you can just vote. It's mostly if you're a very powerful person in the military, or just through your generations, you just get passed on the power of being the dictator of your country. And the power is usually sustained, and the people usually stay in power because, um, well, for example, Idi Amin came through the military, but he also stayed there because he just he really was a forceful leader. Like he didn't really give them much of the human rights they really deserved, and yeah, and then yeah, and Catherine the Great, she was very strong. She was, as a child, she didn't get much attention because her parents were royalty and they really wanted a son, and she had a brother, so she didn't really get a lot of attention because they paid so much attention to the brother that the girl didn't really get much of attention. And so when she became ruler, she didn't want her people to feel the same way she felt as a child, and she didn't want people just to look up to her as like just a girl, and they didn't really want to listen to her, but she made them listen. Like she really made people listen to what she had to say, and she was very forceful, and that really made what Russia is today. And she came to power through really her relatives, and she really sustained it because she really had the support of the Russian people. And Emperor Peter the Third wasn't very good. He was very childish as a leader. So Catherine really had to step in and do really well. So yes, that's really how people really come to power, and just through the relatives and military, I think, really. And my second question is really, what are some common things like you find in dictators and other absolute rulers? I mean, there's so many things, but I really think the common one is having a father figure in their life, or if it was either if he was there or if he was abusive. So it really influenced like many of the dictators. For example, again, Idi Amin, he didn't have a father figure, so it really made him like a really powerful dictator because he didn't know how to act, so he really just learned from the military. Like he didn't learn any of his really didn't learn how to be a man until he really had to take it upon himself and really have some self-discipline. But he really knew how to take orders, and he couldn't think for himself because he really didn't learn that as a kid from his dad because he didn't have one. And yeah, really a father figure. And also in Elizabeth, Queen Elizabeth, she had a father that cut off her mother's head. I mean, that would really affect me as a ruler if I was one. But yeah, just seeing a really abusive father would be really devastating, and really feel that you had to be really powerful in order to not let anybody take your spot. Like, it really influenced how they ruled, and it was pretty common that they didn't have a father figure in their life. Also, another big one is some of these dictators didn't really know that they were killing so many people. I mean, some of them really meant to kill a lot of people, such as Hitler and Mussolini. But some of them didn't know. Like, for example, Idi Amin, again, he just didn't realize how many lives he was affecting because he was just trying to improve the army so much of Uganda, and he was just trying to improve it so much that he didn't realize that he was taking away most of the human rights, actually, of the people of Uganda. And also Mao Zedong of China. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I know he killed like an incredible amount of people, more than Hitler and Mussolini combined, and it was just incredible what he did. But he didn't realize that he was just starving so many people, and he would just he did not realize how many lives he affected just because of he was in rule. Alright, so my third and final question of this vlog is how can one person just impact history so much? Like, how can one person change the course of history is what I'm actually saying. And there's really a lot of examples, and I think a good one is Kim Jong-il, or his dad even, Kim Il-sung. And when they both died, they made the people cry. Like, if you didn't cry, you really would just die. And that really affected many people because they really didn't like them, but it just really changed the course of history. I mean, you've never heard of something awful as this, but it really impacted the history of North Korea, and both of their deaths really impacted, but you never heard of somebody, the whole country just has to fake cry because the government made them, really. And yeah. And also Pol Pot is a really good example. He really made Cambodia just a really he made it a third world country technically, because he just killed so many innocent people, and he would just torture really anybody that went against him, and really he thought everybody was against him, and he really made that country what it is today, and it really affected their course of history. And if this happens again, that would be crazy, because it was very big in Cambodia that this changed their history. And another one that is actually very important is I really think that Assad really even now, it just changes Syria's history. I mean, it's really become a really crazy country to just visit. I mean, you can't even visit, I don't think, because it's just crazy. It's just it's very violent over there. And then finally, I think really Catherine the Great of Russia, back when she was an absolute monarch and she was a very absolute ruler, she had to really take stand for Russia, and because Peter was just the most childish ruler you could think of, but she really took a stand into the woman perspective, because women weren't really treated equal as men, really, and she really had to take it. So that's really where Catherine the Great came from, because she had to really step in and become the man really of Russia, and she really had to step in. So those dictators, I think, really changed the course of history. And we could go on about Mussolini and Hitler and how they really that really defined, everybody thinks of Germany sometimes as just the Nazi country, and we think of World War II, and just Hitler just comes into our mind, just pops in just right as we think of World War II. So you just thought of it. See? Again. But yes, so that was my vlog, and I hope you guys enjoy history, and thank you. Bye.